Did you know that a single, cataclysmic battle between the kingdom of Tyras and the mighty Vorthic Empire was so fierce, so relentless, that it froze the legendary river Thrax solid for nearly a decade? This wasn't just a skirmish. It was a turning point in history, a moment when the world itself seemed to hold its breath. The legendary clash at Serpent's Bend unleashed elemental forces so powerful, they scarred the land for generations. The earth was torn, the skies darkened, and the riverbanks still bear the marks of that ancient fury. Historians and scholars have puzzled over the aftermath for centuries, trying to understand how such devastation was possible. This war was never just about territory or borders. It was a collision of ideologies, a struggle between two visions for the future. Both sides wielded powers that could reshape nature itself, summoning storms and ice, turning the very elements into weapons. The fate of entire peoples hung in the balance. The frozen river became more than just a natural wonder. It was a symbol of both hope and warning. It served as a land bridge, opening new routes for trade and migration, but also stood as a chilling reminder of the devastation that can be unleashed when kingdoms collide and nature is forced to yield. This was a war that shattered not only armies, but the very laws of nature itself. A conflict whose echoes still haunt the land and the legends we tell today. Tyras, land of sunlight and stone, was famed for its harmony with nature and wisdom of its council of elders. Across the continent, the Vorthic Empire rose, industrial, disciplined, ruled by a single iron-fisted emperor. Tyras built glowing marble cities, Vorthic, sprawling metropolises of black iron and fire. The empire saw Tyras as a prize, dismissing their traditions as obstacles to progress. For Tyras, Vorthic expansion threatened their very existence and way of life. The war became a clash between preservation and conquest, nature and machine. Their destinies entwined, the conflict would define both forever. The Great War was a brutal contrast of military might and cunning, a conflict where every dawn brought new horrors and every night, new strategies. It was a time when the clash of steel echoed through ancient forests, and the fate of entire nations hung in the balance. Vorthic legions, armored and relentless, advanced with war machines that leveled cities. Their black banners cast long shadows over the land, and their siege engines shattered stone and spirit alike. The relentless march of their heavy infantry left nothing but ruin in their wake as they pressed forward with cold precision. Tyras, outnumbered and desperate, relied on the legendary Sunstriders, guerrilla warriors who struck from forests and mountains, wielding nature as their ally. These fighters moved like shadows, vanishing into the mist after every ambush, their arrows and blades guided by the land itself. At the infamous Battle of Whispering Woods, the Tyrasians turned the forest into a living weapon. They ensnared Vorthic machines in hidden traps, confused enemy soldiers with illusions and magic, and used the dense mist to mask their movements, making every tree a potential threat. In retaliation, the Vorthic commanders unleashed scorched earth tactics, burning forests, poisoning rivers, and leaving devastation in their path. The war's brutality escalated, and the land itself began to suffer, scarred by fire and tainted by poison. The fight became not just for victory, but for the very soul of the land itself. Every battle left deeper wounds, and the cries of the wounded mingled with the silence of ruined fields. The Empire's ruthless efficiency now targeted the heart of Tyras, leaving only barren wastelands, shattered villages, and scorched fields in its wake, a grim reminder of the terrible cost of war. Emperor Malachor ruled Vorthic with cold strategy and absolute authority, believing only force could bring peace. He saw tradition as weakness, his people as cogs in a vast imperial machine. In contrast, High Elder Alara of Tyras led with empathy and wisdom, inspiring devotion rather than demanding obedience. She was a reluctant warrior, seeking to protect her people and their connection to the land. Malachor's rule was fear and ambition, Alara's consensus and preservation. Their leadership styles mirrored their nations, one driven by conquest, the other by survival. This fundamental difference fueled the war's relentless fire. The war's turning point arrived with the infamous Siege of the Sunstone, a moment that would forever alter the fate of two great kingdoms. For weeks, the armies of Malachor encircled the ancient city, their banners fluttering in the wind as hope within the walls began to fade. At the city's heart stood the Sunstone, the source of Tyrasi magic and spirit, a radiant crystal revered by all who dwelled there. Its glow was said to protect the city and inspire its people. Malachor, driven by ambition and a hunger for power, sought to seize the Sunstone and twist its magic for his own dark purposes, believing it would grant him dominion over the land. He gathered the largest army ever seen, forging uneasy alliances and conscripting thousands, determined to break Tyras' spirit through sheer force. The siege dragged on mercilessly. Inside the city, defenders grew exhausted, and civilians starved behind barricades. Tyras, once proud and vibrant, now teetered on the brink of annihilation, its people desperate and afraid. In the city's darkest hour, Alara and her council made a fateful choice: unleash the Sunstone's power, not as a weapon of destruction, but to remove it from the world entirely, ensuring it could never be corrupted or misused by any side. As Vorthic's forces finally breached Lyra's ancient gates, chaos erupted in the streets and hope seemed lost. Suddenly, a blinding light enveloped the city, so brilliant it turned night into day. In that instant, the Sunstone vanished, and with it, Tyras lost its magic forever. The backlash shattered Vorthic's army, scattering soldiers in confusion and fear, leaving only chaos in its wake. The war ended not in triumph, but in exhaustion and ruin. Both kingdoms were left broken, their lands scarred, and their people weary. In the end, there was no true victory, only silence and emptiness where hope once lived. The haunting cost of mutual destruction lingered, a somber reminder that some losses can never be undone.